Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. So, I was going through our source materials on accessible dating today, and I stumbled upon this core idea that honestly completely flips a piece of advice we've all heard a million times. I mean, how often have well-meaning friends or, family members or dating columns told you that you're just being too picky when it comes to finding a partner? Right? Society is constantly pushing this narrative that we need to cast a wide net and, well, compromise. But what if being picky is actually your greatest strategic advantage? Drawing directly from our sources on intentional connection, we're going to explore how being highly selective is literally the ultimate tool for navigating specific lifestyle needs and disabilities. We're essentially taking what society labels as a flaw and turning it into a highly specialized feature that works entirely in your favor. Here's how we're breaking it down today. First, the power of being picky. Then, weeding out early incompatibility. Next, mastering specialized dating apps. And finally, creating compatible offline dates. All right, section 1, the power of being picky. It's time for a mindset shift. Our source material highlights this incredibly bold and unapologetic quote, "I am a picky type of person. I choose the best of the best." You see, society usually tells us that having high standards is a flaw, right? That if you have a disability or really unique lifestyle requirements, you should just be grateful for any connection at all and just be willing to compromise. But the research, it suggests the exact opposite. When you're navigating specific accessibility needs, being highly selective isn't arrogant. It's a completely necessary tool for survival and success. It's really all about deeply understanding your own worth, fiercely protecting your boundaries, and realizing that demanding the best for your unique situation is the absolute only way to build a sustainable, healthy relationship. The sources actually use a fantastic, simple analogy for this. Think about your basic tastes for a second. If you absolutely despise the color pink, or say you hate strawberries, you wouldn't force yourself to eat a giant bowl of them just to be polite on a date, right? No way. You prefer red, blue, gold, bananas, and apples. You should have that exact same unchangeable clarity regarding your dating needs. I mean, you wouldn't force down a strawberry against your will. So why on earth would you force a relationship dynamic that completely ignores your specific physical or emotional boundaries? When we look at dating through the lens of basic, hardwired preferences, maintaining strict standards suddenly makes perfect, logical sense. So, embracing your selective nature means you're intentionally setting the stage to find exactly what you need. Think of knowing your boundaries not as some massive brick wall designed to keep people out, but more like a finely tuned internal compass. When you're navigating the dating world with a disability or a chronic illness, wandering into incompatible relationships isn't just a mild waste of time. It's a massive, exhausting drain on your precious energy. This internal compass prevents those detours. It keeps you on a really clear path toward mutual understanding, ensuring that you absolutely don't burn out trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Moving on to section 2, weeding out early incompatibility. Let's get into the actionable strategy. The sources introduce a concept that honestly should become your new dating mantra: weeding out. Basically, this means being completely upfront about your specific needs early on to immediately eliminate incompatible matches. Because when you have a highly specific lifestyle, your time and especially your physical and emotional bandwidth, well, they are incredibly valuable commodities. You literally cannot afford to spend 3 months dating someone only to find out they are fundamentally unwilling to accommodate your reality. Setting firm, clear expectations right out of the gate is exactly how you protect those vital resources. So, how do we actually weed people out effectively? The source texts outline 3 key pillars for the strategy. First up, communicate your standards immediately. Deal breakers should definitely not be a third date surprise. Just put them right out there in the open. Second, pivot the focus toward mutual core interests. If your core interests and cultural tastes align, the third pillar actually falls right into place naturally, which is shifting the focus away from just the disability. When you connect deeply over shared passions, whether that's a love for obscure sci-fi novels, gourmet cooking, or, indie music, navigating the logistical requirements of your life becomes this collaborative team exercise rather than some isolating barrier. Let's jump into section 3, mastering specialized dating apps. It's all about digital connections. Taking this strategy into the digital world requires a specific playbook, and here it is. It starts with step 1, targeting understanding partners. This means intentionally going to specialized spaces or using specific app features where people already get it and are open to varying lifestyles. From there, step 2 is to filter ruthlessly for your specific criteria. Remember, you want the absolute best of the best for you. Next, in step 3, you're upfront immediately to weed out incompatibility before it even turns into a conversation. And finally, step 4, you establish your boundaries from the very first message. By following these steps sequentially, you really take total control over your digital dating environment. Utilizing specialized apps isn't about hiding who you are. It's about broadcasting your needs to an audience that's already primed to understand them. The sources note that your profile is prime real estate for doing the heavy lifting of the dating process. I mean, think about the incredible relief of not having to explain yourself over and over again. If you need a partner who understands pacing because you deal with chronic fatigue, write it proudly in your bio. If you require wheelchair-accessible venues for all your meetups, make it the very first thing they read. Let your profile act as an uncompromising bouncer, efficiently weeding out the wrong fits before you ever even have to say hello. Okay, so you've done the work. You've targeted the right spaces, you've filtered your matches, you've established those firm boundaries, and you've found someone who perfectly aligns with your specific tastes online. The big question from the texts now is, how do we seamlessly take this highly intentional filtering offline into the real world without losing any of that wonderful momentum? Which brings us to section 4, creating compatible offline dates. Let's talk real-world success. Because you've front-loaded all the hard work of weeding out incompatibility online, planning the actual offline date should honestly be a breeze. Our sources highlight 3 critical steps for this transition. First, choose accessible venues. And because you've already communicated your needs clearly, this shouldn't require some awkward negotiation. It's just a standard logistical choice now. Second, ensure the environment actually suits your shared personalities. A loud, crowded bar might technically have a wheelchair ramp, but if you both absolutely hate loud noises and prefer deep conversation, it's still a terrible date spot. Finally, focus purely on enjoying those mutual interests. When the venue is right and the vibe perfectly aligns, the disability naturally fades into the background, and your authentic human connection gets to take center stage. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final provocative thought from our sources. Are you still trying to appeal to everyone? Are you still downplaying your very real needs just to secure a match or, go on a date? It's time to fully embrace the incredible power of being incredibly picky. Start dating with the bold intention you truly deserve. Use your high standards not as a wall to keep the world out, but as a highly refined filter to let the exact right person in.